Gardening can sometimes be bewildering, which is why I am so pleased that we have snuggled up with our friends at Crocus for this podcast series. As you probably know, Crocus is the most trusted online gardening brand. Their website is stuffed full of advice, inspiration, and of course, plants and products to help bring your dream garden to life. Check out Crocus's website to find out more. If you find something that you just cannot resist, use the code ScribeHound20 at the checkout to enjoy 20% off all full-price plants until October the 31st, which is, of course, Halloween. Hello.
Hello, James.
It's the Scribehound Gardening Podcast time. Hooray!
Hooray!
Do you think we should have a canned laughter or a canned applause track at
Definitely.
that point? Can you say exactly? Okay, so we'll try it again. It's the Scribehound Gardening Podcast time.
Hey!
It sort of works. Hello, I'm James Alexander-Sinclair, and Joe Swift is over there smiling beatifically at me.
Oh, that's lovely.
Which
What
I
a
think
lovely
is quite
intro,
nice.
James.
That was good.
I'm not scaring you because one of the people who asked the question said that I was a little bit. What was the word? Aggressive and a bit of a bully, passive
No,
aggressive.
they didn't say bully. They just said passive aggressive.
No, I'm a bit of a bully though.
No, you're not.
Look at me.
You're a little cutie, is what you are most of the time. Okay, so what we do during this podcast, I'm not telling you, I'm telling them because you know
Yes.
this already, is that we're going to talk about something that we've decided to talk about, and then we're going to take some questions, because what we really love on the Scribehound Gardening Podcast is audience participation, I think is what it's called.
It's becoming my favourite bit, I've got to say.
It's nice, that bit.
I love it because it means that people are listening, people are getting the hang of the questions as well, because there's things that we do not want to answer. But are they just asking a question, or do you think they actually just want to win one of these and become a Scribehound legend and win a little green gnome?
Everybody wants a little green gnome. What will be happening soon is that there'll be little green gnomes scattered across the globe, and you'll spot a little green gnome in somebody's garden, and you'll know another Scribehound legend lives there, and you're allowed to go and knock on their door and demand dinner and a bed for the night from your fellow Scribehound
that's fair
legends. I
enough.
think that's fair, isn't it?
Totally fair enough.
I think that's absolutely it. So we're going to do that, and if you would like to contribute, if you'd like to talk to us and send in a question, then the place you've got to send it to, and this is the basically testing your power of memory, Joe.
Yes.
The email address is
gardening@scribehound.com.
see. Got it easy,
Trips
really,
off
haven't
the
we?
tongue.
It really does. It trickles and trickles. So we have found ourselves in the year 2025 sitting in a windowless studio / cupboard in Bristol
With some plastic plants behind
with
us.
some plastic plants behind us, talking about gardening in general. This is a journey that has taken me quite a long time to get here, and you too. So today
Oh, I didn't know you were there yet.
We're going to, well, I got here. I'm here. I'm sitting here. How did I end up here? How did you end up here? Joe, how did you start off in gardening?
I was in a band. I'm a bass player in a band. I was an
Were
art
you any
school-
good?
I'm not. I'm a decent bass player. Yeah. But we wrote all our own stuff as well. So yeah, we sort of a bit post-punky. We wanted to be the Clash. The Clash were my band.
Yeah.
They just still are. And we wanted to be them. And we gigged around North London and all that sort of stuff. And
What is the name of one of your songs?
that's quite a tricky one.
What was your
Freedom. There was one called Freedom.
Freedom? What were the lyrics?
No, I didn't do that. I was a bass player. I didn't really listen to the lyrics. No. I mean, I was right behind it. Right, I was right behind us.
Yeah.
It was all that.
Freedom.
No, don't try and sing it because you can't.
Okay.
But anyway, we sang songs about what it was to be young and what it was like working in a factory in the north of England because we and it was Thatcher's Britain at the time.
Yeah.
We were quite rebellious and quite I wouldn't say anarchic, but and then we moved it. We had a few love songs as well. And there was a lot of energy, of energy, and we weren't bad musicians at all.
And so what happened?
So the band split up because the rhythm guitarist started going out with the lead singer's ex-girlfriend.
Oh.
And we were all at school together, and that was it. It was just those two weren't talking. It was a bit like Mick and Mick and Keith.
Yeah.
You know, like it was a bit like that when they started all
The Gallagher brothers.
it was a bit like the Gallagher brothers, and also a bit like the Beatles, I guess, as well. But we just didn't quite get to that stage.
Yeah.
It all happened. The breakup happened before the global domination.
It's the wrong way around. So then it moved, and then you went straight into gardening, or what?
Well, then I went on a kibbutz in Israel for 6 months. Because that's what everyone did. Oh, have we not talked about this?
I don't think so. Not in this context. This is where we're sort of we're ferreting around in the undergrowth of the life of Joe Swift.
Okay, so I didn't have any A levels. I dropped out of art school to take this band quite seriously. So I went to art school for a bit and dropped out because the band became quite demanding and everybody else was full time on the band, so they needed a full time bass player. So anyway, the band split up. Then and I dropped out of art school. And I needed to go and do something, and lots of people were coming back from kibbutzes in Israel. It was just saying, you didn't have to have any Jewish blood or anything. It was just that's what people did. So North London was just full of these people looking quite healthy and brown, and they hadn't spent any money because as long as you had an airfare over there. So I went and worked over there on the date palms and the fish farms, and just loved being outdoors, driving my own tractor around, and having a really good time. And then I got back to the UK and I needed to get a job because I had one A level in art and I needed to get a job. And a friend of mine was working for a local gardening company, Gaylord and Merriweather. And I phoned them up and...
Did you speak to Mr. Gaylord or Mr.
I
Merriweather?
said, can I speak to Mr. Gaylord or Mr. Merriweather? And I was told that it was a fictitious name. And anyway, I blagged myself a job and I said, I really want to get into gardening. The only thing I knew, having spent so much time outdoors, was that I didn't want to go into an office. I'd had Saturday jobs throughout my whole life, working in car parks, working in bakeries, working in a record shop. I'd always had jobs going in my summer holidays, school holidays. I'd always be working for somewhere or another. So I had a good work ethic, Jimmy.
Excellent.
Anyway, so I started working for Gaylord and Merriweather in the maintenance department with Antonia, who was just a wonderful gardener. And then I moved to the landscaping division and was building gardens, basically. And that's how I got into it, driving trucks around North London and a lot of energy. I don't know why, I had a lot of energy in those days.
So do you have a degree in gardening?
I have a diploma in garden design.
Oh,
because then in 1990, I then went to Australia and I worked in Australia as a landscaper. And then I came back and did a diploma in garden design.
And the rest, as they say, is history, basically. It carried on from that.
Yeah, but I was also, at the same time when I was studying, we set up a landscaping company, Williams and Swift Landscapes. Guess which one I was?
Hey!
Yeah, hey.
Was there a Williams?
Yeah, Mark Williams is my best friend ever. He's no longer with us. He was my best mate at school, best man at my wedding, and we set up Williams and Swift Landscapes. And Alon, who you know, who I work with, he was our labourer.
That's right.
In the day, and we lost Mark a few years ago. And he was also the lead singer in the band as well. So we were very, very close.
So it all works.
Yeah, and we all just love being sort of like these urban landscapers and gardeners, being out there driving trucks around and sort of really getting stuck in and I just got into gardening so much, and then I wanted to study design because someone asked me to design their garden and I didn't know where to start. So I thought, maybe I'll go and study something.
So it seems like a good
There
idea.
you go.
I think it's.
How about you?
Mine's quite similar to that as well. In that I left. I did have an A level.
Did you? What in?
Yes, I got 3 or 2.5. I can't remember.
That's it. 2.5.
English D, history D, history of art B. That sounds like
You got a B in history of art?
yeah. I did.
How much did this education cost again?
A lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
So I left school and
So you couldn't go to uni with those?
No. Well, I could have gone to university, but it was deemed not everybody went to university in those days, and I was told that I was not university material.
Oh, really? By
Which
who?
is by the careers master at school, basically. And so I went off and I decided that I wanted to be an actor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I went and did drama school auditions when I was about 17. So I left school at 17, went to drama school auditions, didn't get them, got distracted, did other stuff. I worked in a jeans shop. I was Father Christmas in Harrods one year, which was quite good. I used
So
to
it sounds a bit
clean-
You're a bit too skinny to be a Father Christmas.
No,
James.
I had a lot of padding. I was also quite young. I was like 18 or something when I was Father Christmas.
Let me
So
hear your
I was
Father Christmas.
Ho, ho, ho. What would you like for Christmas?
Oh,
Does that work? Sort of thing?
Bit creepy.
It's a little, just a little bit creepy, which is in the vein of Father Christmases across the world.
Yes, absolutely.
I'd just like to say that Father Christmas is a real person.
Okay.
Okay, and I was just imitating him
Yes.
rather than being the real Father Christmas who lives in Lapland.
That was the line, was it?
That's
was this in a
basically
shop
it.
somewhere?
It was in Harrods.
Oh, in Harrods.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
I was-
wow.
Yeah, and then I was a waiter, and I washed up in a lot of places and did all this kind of stuff, and didn't really have any particular. The idea of gardening never crossed my mind. I thought, why would I want to do something like that? That's like boring and not have any glamour. So I wanted to be a poet, but I wasn't very good at writing poetry. I wanted to be a photographer for a bit. I wanted to be an advertising man. I quite fancied the idea of being a butler.
Yeah.
Glass of sherry, sir.
You got the name for it, haven't you?
I'd be good, James. I thought I would be like Jeeves, and do things like that. And then eventually, I sort of fell into gardening by mistake. It sort of happened. It was just one of those things. I was living with my sister, and she said, "You could dig the garden," because I decided that actually what I was really, really good at was lying on the sofa smoking cigarettes. But that's apparently not a career for some weird reason. So I basically went out and dug a garden, and I became a landscaper, and sort of picked it up as I went along.
Yeah.
And then at some point, I did a very short course, just 10 weeks long, and I only turned up for a few of them.
Where was that then?
That was at the Inchbald.
Okay, the posh one.
So the posh one, up the road.
The very expensive one. I was at the English gardening school.
That's right, with Rosemary.
Rosemary Alexander.
Yeah.
In 1990.
Yeah.
When were you in
That's
the Inchbald?
1984.
Wow, ahead of your time.
So quite a long time.
Because those were literally the two colleges, because you couldn't do a degree in garden design like you can now, and there were no other colleges.
I mean, there must be
apart
places...
from going properly through horticulture, so going to Wisley or Kew and studying horticulture,
Or
Merris Wood or Capel Manor,
Yeah.
which was near me.
Which are all those things. So I think that times have changed quite a lot, really. So I basically the same as you. I was a landscaper. I spent a lot of time, as you did it, so I was doing it in South London, where you're sort of, you're driving around in small shorts without a shirt on, doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
And glorying in the fact that one has abdominals upon which one could bounce a 2p piece, and all of that
Well,
kind
I've
of
kept
stuff.
mine.
Yeah,
You noticed.
well, I've obviously got mine. You can bury a 2p piece in mine now. And it sort of picked it up as I went along. You work out.
Well, you do. I mean, that's the beauty of the profession, is you're always learning. I'm still learning stuff. And you every day, after a few years, you think I've picked up quite a lot of this. I mean, the thing is, it's quite easy to get stuck as the hard landscaping side, I found, because Gaylord and Merriweather had a landscape division and a garden maintenance division.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad I started on the gardening side of things and then moved to the hard landscaping side of things. And I think there's a lot of hard landscapers out there who I just say, even to my son, just like learn a plant a week, and after a few years, you'll know a few hundred plants.
Yeah.
It's great, but a lot of them get a bit boxed in, I think, one side or the other.
I think it's really, really nice to have a landscaper who understands plants.
Yeah.
I mean, from the most basic thing is that they don't tread on them. I mean, it's like builders should not be allowed anywhere near soil.
No.
Or anything that's alive, because they don't understand. It's not
No,
their
they
fault.
just
It's
pour their
it's
paint
just the way it
pots
goes.
out there
and they
and,
empty their cement mixers onto the flower beds and things. So a good landscaper will have a sensitivity to plants and to the things that are growing around it, because it's a big part of what they do. And so I was, I can lay paving, I can build a brick wall, I can do all of that kind of stuff. I haven't done it for a while.
But also
I
as a
can do it.
design. So then when you go into design,
Exactly.
you need to know that stuff.
Yeah, because how do you know that they're doing it right unless you've done it yourself? And I say that quite a lot to student garden designers. I said, go and spend a month with a hard landscaper. Go and mix cement. Go and move paving stones around the place. Go and understand how you actually build these things. Because that way you'll know whether they're doing it right when you're
Well,
actually
also you'll know the art of the possible as well. You won't, if you've got a metered level change, you won't just think, well, I need 2 steps there. You'll work it out that you need, well, whatever it is.
Well, well, you'll work out that you need a wall of a certain thickness in order
there's
to hold that back.
retaining walls and steps, and there's soil movement, and
drainage.
you'll also work that if you work out that, say you're putting a retaining wall in, and you move that wall a metre in one direction, you'll have 20 less skips to fill up out the front. So actually, you're playing around with the client's budgets and. Hopefully your profit margins a little bit to make sure that what you're designing will hit the budget and is practical.
Exactly.
Have you got to that stage yet?
I'm edging towards it gently. I think it's part of a garden designer's job is to save the client money, to stop them making mistakes.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that we're there. Although employing a garden designer, not everybody employs a garden designer. You don't have to have a garden designer in order to make a garden. But hopefully the point of a garden designer is to help you make that job better and easier. I find myself slightly envious of people who are starting in horticulture now. Yeah. Because there are many, many more opportunities. I would have loved to have gone to Kew.
Me too. So what would you say is the missing piece in your garden design jigsaw? If you were starting over again now, what would your process be? Would you still have started off as a butler?
I would. If I was starting again, maybe I would have gone down the butling thing and stuck with that. God, I would have been a good butler.
Oh, you'd be brilliant.
Oh, I would have had a really, really nice tailcoat and a little tie and all that kind of stuff, and I would have shimmered like Jeeves into a room, and nobody would know I was there. And it would, cheese straw, sir.
Yes, please.
Can I help you with your waistcoat?
All of that. It is a little bit tight, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, if I was doing it now. Would I go and do a design course? Yes, I think I probably would, because I think that the way that we did it, sort of almost organically.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that really exists any longer. I think that most young garden designers that you see have got a qualification.
No, but forget. So take a step back from the garden design. Just start. Where would you have gone to Kew or Wisley, or would you have come in on the plant side of things?
I would have liked to have done more plant, because the plant stuff I've sort of. I mean, it's. I haven't really had the time to learn plants.
Yeah.
I mean, I know them now, purely from the way you're talking about. You learn a new plant every week. Within a few years or a couple of decades, you know a lot.
Yeah.
You know a lot of plants about time. And it would have been nice to have had a little bit more training in maybe botany and why plants do and where they come from.
Me too. That's the bit I feel like I would have loved. If I'd have gone back, I'd love to have done a year or a couple of years at Wisley or Kew or something.
Yeah. And then you sort of understand what plants need more rather than finding it out by killing them, which is what we did quite a lot of. It's by that sort of experimentation. And so I think that gardening and horticulture as a career has become more sophisticated than perhaps it was.
Yeah.
Because there's also the whole thing, I said this on television once, which was possibly a mistake, was that when we first started, I think that landscaping was the last refuge of the unemployable. Because it was. You think, what are you going to do? I will just go and be a landscaper. Yeah. Because it was something that you could go and be a landscape labourer and you didn't have to know very much and you would just help people. Whereas now it's something I think that people are prouder of. And
it's a proper profession, isn't it? And a respected profession.
And it should be. And as a result, people should be being paid properly.
Yeah.
Which I think we have a slight problem with, and that people think. And the reason for this, I'm sort of halfway through writing a Scripan piece about it, is that people think, okay, my grand gardens and my mum gardens, therefore it must be quite easy. And so I'm not going to pay you as much as perhaps you should be worth.
Completely. And you might have a fully qualified gardener who's who's got a degree in horticulture and 10 years experience, and they'll want to pay them the same as the cleaner.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas they
Basically.
should be paying them
And
the
not
same.
that a cleaner's not hugely qualified. I mean, there's some brilliant cleaners out there who've been studying cleaning for years. But then I don't think I still think it's a problem.
No, but they should be paying them the same as the plumber, for example. So
Yes,
somebody who's
absolutely.
bringing something
The electrician,
skilled.
the plumber, those skills.
A skilled craftsman, and so look after your gardeners, ladies and gentlemen, because you need them when they do wonderful things. And I think that there is very definitely an attraction to people. A lot of people have second careers coming into gardening as well, aren't they? And you spent 10 years being being
All sorts.
a loss adjuster.
Well, okay, yeah, and look, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I don't know where that popped into your mind from.
Something.
But yeah, I've worked with all sorts. I've worked with restaurateurs, with people who are marketing. See now people who are in marketing, if they go into garden design, they often do very well because they're very good at self-publicising.
Yes, exactly.
They might not be the best garden designer in the world, but they get a lot of work because I'm very good at marketing myself. Yeah. But I've worked with people, career changes from all sorts. When I did study in 1990, even then I was one of the youngest there at the age of 25 or something. And a lot of people were career changing, so they were all coming in from a real mixture of backgrounds. And then on site, landscaping seems to attract. I don't want to go and work on a building site as a labourer, just mixing up cement and shifting a load of bricks. I'd much rather go and work as a landscape or work in a garden because it's more interesting
And it's nicer.
And you're surrounded by plants, and often the people within the landscape industry are nice, interesting, generous people, I think. And so it does attract, what I'm saying is a more diverse range of backgrounds and thoughts. And sometimes you're having lunch on site, you end up in really interesting places chatting to landscapers that I'm not sure you would with a bricklayer necessarily. Am I being a bit?
No, I think actually you are being fair there, because I think that you get. Yes, a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds, and all with lots of good, interesting stories.
Yeah, exactly.
I think probably.
Exactly.
And the idea is, I cannot think off the top of my head of a loss adjuster, just for an example, who has decided to have a second career as a bricklayer.
No.
Whereas there's lots and lots of them who've decided to become not just garden designers, but
the problem is,
people.
I think it's a bit of a problem just I'm saying, in the middle of your life, I'm now a garden designer, because there's a lot of young gardeners and designers who have come through who are a lot more experienced because they've been doing it for 10 or 20 years. And you do need that on-site knowledge, that plant knowledge and that experience. And there's a lot more information out there now than when we were around. There was a few really good books, I guess, and some couple of good colleges, but and it's really hard work as well. Actually, some people, to get your first garden design commission is tough. And then you realise you're basically paying yourself about £1 an hour because you've underpriced it because you don't think that they're going to pay. But you get something for your portfolio. But there's also, just going into gardening, so there's also the science of gardening. There's the nurseries out there. There's a huge range of options and jobs within gardening and horticulture.
No, and more so than anything else. I mean, okay, so we're going to make a garden design, garden maintenance, nurserymen, turf people, tree surgeons, scientists, photographers, writers, all of these kind of, that's just for you. You don't get that with estate agents, do you really?
Or loss adjusters.
Or indeed loss adjusters. I don't know enough about loss adjusting to do it. I always thought.
So what would your advice be to someone who's thinking of going into it? Would you say go for it, or just keep away from it?
No, I would say definitely go for it. Yeah. Please go for it. Do that. I think that perhaps one of the things that we as garden designers need to remember is that the gardens that we design are only ever as good as the people who look after them. Mm-hmm. So what we have a shortage of, I think, probably is really, really good maintenance gardeners, the people who will take a design and make sure that it, because you can design a garden, you're there, you do it, you're there for maybe 6 months, you go away. That garden does not look after itself. And I think it's really, really important that people become gardeners, become the people who are there in gardens every day, have got their hands in the soil, are looking after plants, who understand them. properly and better. So I think that that's a really, really important thing. And I don't think that we have enough of them.
We don't. But that also comes back to the industry not attracting people. And one of it is for pay.
It is money.
It is down to pay because people aren't prepared to pay for a really good gardener. But those who can should.
Definitely, absolutely should. Because I mean, okay, just because it's just us, quite frankly, there are a fair few not very good garden designers out there.
James.
I know, but there are people who, and you sort of think, no, you haven't quite got the hang of this, and it's
Why?
not quite
Because
right.
they haven't been gardening. They haven't been out there learning from others and gardening on site and being on site.
I think that's it. Maybe they're just inexperienced and they will turn into garden designers. But I see quite a lot of show garden applications that appear, and you look at it and you think, this is not very good. This is not very good because you haven't thought it through properly. You haven't lived the garden properly. The paths come from different directions, or like you said before, there's 2 steps when there should be 4. All of that kind of stuff. And doing something in theory is one thing. Go, get your garden design qualification, and then go and work in a garden, and then go and be a gardener, be a landscaper. And that is the important bit that you can't really learn about it without doing it.
And that's where the passion comes from as well, I think, because working in an incredible garden. When I first started, we maintained some beautiful gardens, and you saw what works and what doesn't work, and you're surrounded by beautiful plants. You connect with the seasons. What's this garden going to look like in winter, spring, summer, autumn? What the processes of when to plant things, when to prune things. I don't think you can be a really good garden designer without being a really good gardener.
Yes.
And I think if you're a really good gardener, you're going to be interested in design, whether it's not necessarily hard landscaping, but putting plants together and continuing the seasons. And there's a real crossover there. But yeah, I think these days there's a huge range of opportunities. We need to value our gardeners. And if you and I could just go back, 40 years odd? Oh, God. We might have done it slightly differently. But I still think it's a wonderful, wonderful world.
It is.
The horticultural world.
Definitely. The people who are in it, the places that you can get to, the things. I mean, if you think about the stuff that we've done just by being gardeners. So we started off, laying bricks or weeding beds or picking up cat mess. I did quite a lot of that when I was first starting. And now, we've travelled all sorts of different places. We've met an extraordinary number of people, and we end up sitting in a cupboard in Bristol.
Chatting to each other.
Yeah, basically. I can't think of anything better.
Living the dream.
I can think of one thing better, which is to answer some questions from the listeners who are out there.
I think that was the most serious podcast we've done to date. People who will be listening in will be thinking that we've gone all serious. We'll have maybe a backup sheet on the website with some information of courses, where to apply here, what qualifications you can get.
I think if they think that, they're going to be out of luck.
They're going to be out of luck, completely out of luck.
I think it's important. I think that what we have in this podcast, the Scribe Gardening podcast, is light and shade.
Okay.
We have black and we have white, and we have shades of grey in between it. We have all of these things.
50 shades?
Yeah, at least.
Oh, dear me.
Okay, questions.
Okay.
It's question time. So, second part of the podcast, traditionally, is about questions, isn't it? Because people have sent them in. Why have they sent in questions to us, apart from the fact that they wish to sup at the fount of our knowledge?
Well, they want to win a little gardening gnome, a little green gnome.
If you send in a question and we read it out...
You become a Scribe Hound legend.
Wait, it's not as easy as that. We can't just have it and us read it out. If we read it out and we provide an answer and we like it, then you become a Scribe Hound legend and you get a garden gnome. However, we are quite... Discerning, I was going to say. See, this is the difference between us.
Brutal.
I'm discerning and you're brutal. You're like the bouncer at the door of the podcast, and I'm the butler again. I'm the one who's saying, "Come in, sir."
Yeah, and
Sit
I'm
down.
saying, "Hang on, I want to see your ID, mate."
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between us.
Well, that's good.
But on this case, we are in agreement in that we do not take questions that involve dead plants.
No.
Or anything like that, because we're not interested in dead plants.
I mean, the questions are, I think the standard of questions are getting better.
We hope so.
And they're becoming more in tune with the whole ethos of this podcast.
And the ethos of this podcast, if this podcast was an animal, what would you say it was?
Oh, why do you ask me silly questions like that? Because
Because that's the sort of question that they're going to ask us.
Is that the sort? Well, we had an armadillo question. I think that this podcast, if it was like any animal, one of my favourite animals on the planet is the armadillo.
You think so?
Yeah, because it's tough on the outside. Yeah, it's got. I like the pointy hooter on
and
it.
delicious on the inside.
And probably I don't know what. Do they eat them?
Yes. I think so. I think you cook it like a hedgehog wrapped in mud.
No, you can't eat an armadillo.
I've no idea.
You can't eat a hedgehog either anymore. By the way, they're protected species.
We'll find out.
Okay, let's have a little guess of. Do you think because we went global a bit on the last one? I'm hoping they're still coming in.
Okay,
we wanted one from Australia, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Because then we can hear you read it out in your terrible Australian accent.
Okay, would you like to take a card?
In fact, just pretend, whoever's sending in a question, just pretend you're from some mad part of the world, just so that we hear James's terrible limerick.
This is.
I've got one from New Zealand. That's quite close. Oh, and they say, what's the difference between Australian and Kiwi accent? Sit on my. Oh yeah, come. I don't know. That's a rude one. Sorry, but they say. We would say, come and sit on my deck. They say, come and sit on my dick.
Yes, yeah, okay.
Yeah. We have to cut that bit out. I'm sorry about that. Maureen from Wellington, NZ. To worm farm or not to worm farm? That is the question.
Well, that's it. That's easy, yes. Worm farm.
So you know the problem with New Zealand? Is
the flatworm.
Well, we introduced the worm. There were no worms. I'm pretty sure because I worked with a director producer who did all those sort of natural history programs. And before we got there were no worms in New Zealand, which meant that their grass was really poor. And then they took the cows over there and the sheep, and they wanted to have really good quality grass, so they introduced the worm that started completely screwing up their environment.
But then a few years ago, when I say a few years, probably at least 10 years ago, there was a panic about the New Zealand flatworm, that was brought into this country and was eating all the earthworms. Yeah. And I found
not to be confused with the flat earthworm.
No, it's not saying there's the
they don't believe in. Do they believe in the world being flat?
Yeah,
is that them? They're the ones who's spreading these?
The ones who no, there was the New Zealand flatworm.
Yeah, what's happened to them?
Which were flat.
Yeah. Did you ever meet one?
Yes, I met one, and I was taken by its flatness.
Oh right.
But
you hadn't just run it over, had you?
And apparently they were eating. Well, I haven't heard from them since. But they've disappeared. So the question about
yes, they were taking out our native worm.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But
so the question is to farm worms or not to farm worms?
Yes, farm worms.
What in a wormery?
In a wormery.
Have you got a wormery?
I haven't got a wormery, but I have an awful lot of worms in my compost heap.
Yeah.
Those what are they called? Red ones. They're called something worms.
Yeah, they're composting worms.
No, they're not called. They're called something like I can't remember. A grayling or a frailing or a grapefruit or a something worm. Brandling. Brandling worms, the little red worms.
Almost like grapefruit. Yes, those the tiny little red ones.
Actually,
great composting
You can
worms.
see that exactly how my brain works.
But they stay in the compost heap. They're not earthworms.
No, they're not earthworms. And in a wormery, you'd have special light brandling worms that would.
Yeah,
do that.
I used to have a wormery. I had a wormery in Hackney, and it was quite exciting actually.
If you've got a small garden, you haven't got room for a big compost heap. It's quite a good
garden,
thing to have.
great, but they do need a bit of input. Okay,
Yeah.
so you can't just you've got these plastic layers of basically trays with holes in them, and you put your old veg waste, and you can put a bit of cardboard in there, and a bit of clippings from here and there and everywhere in there, but mainly veg, and then you put your worms in there, and then they work their way down. That's it. You put them in the top, and they work their way down, and you end up in layers, and then you end up with worm juice at the bottom.
Yeah.
And with a little tap. And that worm juice is fantastic stuff. You dilute it about 10-1, and it's a plant feed. The problem with the worms is that if there's not enough food for them, they they dwindle, they starve, and also temperature. They need to be. So you can't put them in a hot place. So this was quite a hot garden. I had to keep putting them in shade. And there's quite a lot of regular, and then you had to sort of bed them. That's it. You get some bedding material that you bed them down into. Like a duvet, duvet, and a couple of pillows and stuff. Anyway, they were quite a bit. It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. And over a few years, the sort of worms died out, and worms are fantastic, obviously. But if you can, I've got space for wormery and maintain it, go for it.
So the answer to that question, which you've done in 4,722 words, is yes.
Yes.
There we go.
We don't do yes or no.
She gets a gnome there.
Most
definitely a gnome.
Yeah, and we got a
trip for us there.
And we got to send it all the way to Wellington.
Oh, I think we can take that. No, I'm not going to do that
American
one. I'm not going to do that one. It's going to go. Okay, I've got a question here. I've got here.
Oh, that's another word that they say. Fush. They say fush.
Fush.
That's New Zealand. They say.
That's Scotland. They say fush. A fush
no,
supper.
No, fush.
Fush.
Yeah, they eat fish and chips. That's the difference between Australia and New Zealand.
Okay, I've got here Susan. Hi.
Hi, Susan.
I have so enjoyed all your podcasts.
Oh, lovely.
And I love your podcast room.
Ooh, what?
Okay, this is great. It is my first summer with my new festoon lights.
Wow.
So this is a sequel to something we've already spoken
now
about.
That should be read in a Scottish accent.
Festoon. Festoon.
Festoon lights.
Brigadoon. I need to put some festoon on Brigadoon. They're hanging from my pergola, which is my sitting area. It's lovely and bright, but also relaxing. I never sit indoors and spend so much time there. What sort of solar permanent lighting would you recommend, if not festoon lights, which, if I understood right, should be for occasional use? I don't think we said that. I think festoon lights were okay for permanent use. Fairy lights were for occasional use.
No, I think okay, so having listened back to the podcast, I think we need to reiterate that all garden lighting is for occasional use because of wildlife and our dark skies and your neighbours, and so all lights should be turned off. So when you say permanent use, what do you mean? They start permanently, but you turn them on and off?
Well, what she says solar permanent lighting. So obviously it's not going to be permanent because it's not going to be working if the...
Okay, I've got some... we're turning... This is getting a little bit advisory.
I'm going to stop this right here.
Oh, I had a good answer.
I'm going to stop. Have you got a good answer?
Well, only that you can get solar-powered lights that have got a sensor, or they come on and off, and they're actually quite good, and you can highlight things and highlight paths, and they might stay on for 30 seconds as you walk past, or you can put them on a bit longer, and they work quite well nicely, but always get a warm white, not the glowy white.
I would definitely agree with that, because solar lighting used to be rubbish.
Yeah, you
they
used to
were just absolutely negative.
Used to fizzle out by the time the sun went down.
So they definitely got much, much better. But I would say, we decided, actually, and Susan obviously wasn't listening that hard, we decided that we were going to do a whole episode on lighting.
Yeah.
Or did we decide that today? I can't remember. We decided that, so I'm going to leave this. I'm going to shelve this.
Okay.
I'm going to send Susan a note.
I think Susan just wanted to say festoon.
I know, I like that. I love the fact that she's enjoyed all our podcasts. The fact she's enjoyed all our podcasts, that itself is enough to get a gnome.
I think if people say that they've enjoyed all of our podcasts and they recommend us to like a friend or a neighbour, they get a gnome too. Because we have got hundreds of these things under your bed.
Also, if they go and subscribe to Scribe Hand Gardening,
yes,
well then they might not get a gnome, but what they will get is a new article from an exciting voice every single day.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do another question.
But they really want to know.
Which one would you like?
And to become a Scribe Hound legend. Have you noticed I always go for the middle one and you always go for the one around the edges? Well, this is a long one. Steph, Aberdeen, Scotland. Gents. Have you got a Scottish blood, Jimmy?
Yes, lots.
Okay. Oh, sorry, because you can get away with it. Then I'm not sure I can.
I've got lots of it.
Okay.
That's why
have you got a tartan kilt?
Yes, I have. Ooh. I've got a kilt. I've got my great grandfather's kilt, so it's pretty old.
Wow.
And my great grandfather, he died in 1945, so he must have the kilt when he was quite young. So it's a 100-and-something-year-old kilt.
Has it got a name?
Sinclair.
It's Sinclair.
It's Sinclair tartan.
Tartan. Yeah.
I look very good in a kilt. If people write in, I will put a photograph of myself in a kilt on the Strobe Gardening social media if necessary.
Please don't write in, everybody out there. We don't want to see that. Okay, here we go. We've got gents in comma, lads.
Lads.
Question mark, lads.
Are we lads or gents?
Lads. Gents, we like gents.
Okay.
This is a classy
I think
show.
so. I think it is.
I appreciate you're not agony uncles, but I wondered if you could advise on some social etiquette. Oh, James, I think this is for you more than me.
Yes, this is me.
On my walk home, are you sitting comfortably, James?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's a long one. On my walk home from my children's nursery, I pass a particular front garden with a 5-foot macrophylla hydrangea, which is in dire need of deadheading. Each day I think, perhaps this will be the week they realise, but to no avail. I'm a bit of a self-confessed stickler about deadheading hydrangeas. Is there anything more satisfying to do in March? Question mark and an exclamation mark after that. So do I need to sneak up in the dead of night and do it for them? Do I politely post some instructions through their door with a pair of secretaires? Or do I find another route home to avoid the growing sense of annoyance every morning? Help, please.
I think that's an interesting question.
Intervening in somebody else's garden.
It's the narrow tightrope between being a nosy bastard and being helpful, isn't it? Really.
Well, also, who is the deadheading for? The deadheading is not for the hydrangea, because the hydrangea in nature would not
Doesn't
be
care
deadhead.
that much.
Doesn't care. And actually, I'm coming out now. I've got a couple of hydrangeas I haven't got around to deadheading because I didn't bother, and they're looking fine.
Yeah.
So, and actually, I quite like the faded.
The deadhead will eventually fall off anyway.
The faded deadhead look. So, who is this deadheading for? You know who it's for? It's for Steph.
Definitely.
It's only for Steph.
It's for. I mean, okay.
So that's taking over someone else's garden. I think, Steph. I think you might have to just change your route home.
We did a podcast about front gardens, and we had lots of conversations about community and front gardens.
Yeah.
So what I think that Steph should do is talk to the person whose hydrangea it is.
Knock on the door.
Knock on the door, and it could
Say,
be. Okay,
hello, I'm from the horticultural police.
I'm going to give you a scenario here. All right. What happens is that Steph walking past on the way back from the nursery.
Yeah.
Okay. Little child. Does it say what sort of child it is? What variety of child?
It's a children's nursery.
Small child holding onto her hand.
Yeah.
And saying, "Oh, mummy, this is what I did today." Yeah, so we've got this nice thing, and they're walking along, and they knock on the door of the person with the hydrangea, and there's a bit of a pause, and they can hear a shuffling, and somebody comes along the corridor.
What do you want?
No.
Oh, it could be.
It could be. Creak. The door opens, and there is the sweetest little old lady you've ever seen.
Oh.
She's 4'7".
Yeah.
She's a little bit bent over. She's wearing fluffy slippers.
I know her.
And she's got a sort of glowing smile and rosy
whiskers.
cheeks. And obviously, she's got slightly arthritic hands, and she can't do her own hydrangea pruning. So Steph then says, "Do you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to prune your hydrangea. Would that be okay?" And the old lady would say, "Oh, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much. I haven't been able to prune my hydrangea since 1957.
When I used to keep it at 4'6".
Correct. You see all that? And that could end up with, and then there's a whole community.
Yeah, that's lovely.
And the child has got a new grandmother who bakes scones and takes them on
the way
trips to
home.
the zoo and all of that kind of stuff. And so it could be a whole new thing, and a whole new friendship, and the community of front gardens would be opened up again. So that's what I think she should do.
Knock on the door. So don't sneak up in the dead of night.
No.
I think I'll probably do that. I'll sneak up in the. Oh, posting instructions with a pair of secretaires.
It's a waste of a pair of secretaries.
Waste of a pair of secretaries. Might not use them actually.
Yeah, might use them badly.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll tell you the one good bit of horticultural information that's come out of that is don't prune your hydrangeas till March.
Yeah.
Don't do it too early. Okay, so it's my question, isn't it?
It's your question. Good question, though. Definitely, Steph.
Steph.
Yeah, Gary.
Steph is a legend.
Gary, they're coming your way.
Linda from Roydon Harlow in Essex I have collected numerous plants from my garden to take on to my new house in time for next summer. Cuttings, seeds and division to increase my stock, but
Excellent,
to leave
good
sufficient
move.
behind.
Top gardening.
What was the most satisfying propagation exercise you have undertaken? And would you recommend the audience to have a go at your method? How are you on propagation?
Well, I'm going to get into propagation big time with my new garden once I've got the sort of bigger projects out the way. So the hard landscaping's done. I've put this bird bath thing in. This autumn, I'm doing some planting in the ground. So I'm buying more shrubs and perennials and some trees and shrubs and trees and things like that. And then I'm going to start sowing some seed. I'm going to start taking cuttings. I'm pretty good with the cutting.
I like a cutting. I like a salvia cutting.
Well, I love a division. Division's the easiest.
Well, division is what I was going to talk about. Division is fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because division...
like 12 divided by 4.
Long division.
Yeah.
Oh, but much more. What I think about division is the only bit of propagation that you can do with an axe. Basically, isn't it? You can dig up, say, for example, a big ornamental grass.
Yes.
And then you can just go for it with an axe. You can say, I'm a lumberjack, whack. I'm still a lumberjack, whack. And you can whack it in half and quarters and eighths with an axe and then replant it. So that's like beefy, energetic, exciting propagation. Yeah. And at the other end of it,
What, seeds?
Seeds, I'm not so good on seeds.
What was the question? I've completely forgot.
What's the most satisfying?
I've got a vision of you in a kilt, swinging your axe.
I'll be good at that. What was the most satisfying propagation exercise you've undertaken? And would you recommend the audience have a go at your method? I recommend the audience have a go with an axe anytime they want.
Definitely. Yeah. Axe is good.
But seeds, Celestia's very good at seeds. I'm not.
I'm going to master it all, the seed sowing.
You're going to become a seedsman.
I am.
I think that would be a good idea. So I like taking cuttings from salvias, and that's quite fun and quite straightforward and easy. Just little softwood cuttings, salvias, penstemons.
Well, there's all these things like dogwoods. There's those dogwoods, easy. Willows, all that sort of stuff's really easy to take cuttings from. Hardwood cuttings.
Roses, really easy to take cuttings from.
Easy. You've got to have somewhere to sort of stash them out the way for a bit.
Well, you just stick them in a bucket for a year.
Yeah, well, basically. In compost or water.
Yeah, in compost.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That sort of works quite nicely.
Quick fires, please.
Okay. Right.
It's 2 o'clock.
And yours is the
last question.
Last question.
I'm going to read this out. Okay. Sorry, it's glasses time. Liz from Yorkshire. Hello, gentlemen. Oh, we do like
That's even better than gents.
Yeah. What do you think about talking to plants? Does it make a difference at all? And do you talk to your plants? I'll be honest with you. I don't talk directly to many plants.
No, neither, and I don't swear at my plants either. Some people do. Some people say, "Oh, you bloody thing, grow." And
how's that going to help?
Well, exactly. What's it going to make the plant feel like? How would you like it if someone came up and say, "Joe, bloody grow"? Yeah. It wouldn't be nice.
But I tell you, I don't actually verbalise bloody grow, but I might be thinking it. I like to just work through telepathy with my plants.
Yeah.
Because they understand me, I understand them, but it's telepathic. They don't. The thing about plants, they don't actually understand the English language. Did you know that?
No, I tend to speak to my plants in French.
That might be, but Latin is
Latin is the way. No. I think that you're right. I think there's a deep spiritual bond between the gardener and the plants, and it's verbalizing it doesn't help anybody except the gardener. If it makes you feel better,
if it helps
to
you,
to your plants,
so, absolutely. I wouldn't want to stop anybody, but trust me, these plants don't speak English, so.
I mean, there's a whole thing about the king who used to speak to plants, didn't he? And was universally excoriated for it, which I think was slightly unfair. Because if you want to speak to plants, then why the hell don't you speak to plants? It's good. It's a good thing. It makes you feel better. I'm not sure it's going to make much difference to the plants.
Exactly.
So I reckon that's the end of our questions for today.
Liz definitely gets
Liz gets one because I think that's nice.
We've handed out a load of gnomes. There's quite a lot of postage to do tonight.
I think we've been generous with our gnomes, but we like that because it means that people are sending us good questions.
Yes.
So if they want to send us a question, to which email address should they send it?
They should send it to scribehound@gardening. No, I've got
No.
it. Oh man. Rewind.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah,
I'm keeping that in.
yes,
yeah,
do
oh,
that.
you can keep it in because I've finally got the hang of it. But
Okay, so
I've now-
let's get this right because we done.
I just wanted to show
a
you
little
all that I am
brainstorm.
human. Okay.
The email address is
Gardening@scribehound.com.
bang. The boys knocked it out the park.
So send us your questions. We love them.